Number 1. In this question, you will be asked to give your opinion about a familiar topic. After you hear the question, you will have 15 seconds to prepare your response and 45 seconds to speak. Some students would prefer to live with roommates. Others would prefer to live alone. Which option would you prefer, and why?
Begin to prepare your response after the beep. Begin speaking after the beep.
On the one hand, I think to live with a roommate could be a good thing since you always have somebody to talk with when you have problems or things like that, and it's a good way to meet people. But on the other hand, you can't really do whatever you want. I mean, if you like parties and if your roommate does not, it's not a good thing for you. You are not free to do what you like, and it's not really interesting, and it's well, I live by myself and I'm very glad since I can do what I want. I have nobody to tell me what to do.
Number 2. In this question, you will read a short passage about a campus situation and then listen to a talk on the same topic. You will then answer a question using information from both the reading passage and the talk. After the question, you will have 30 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to speak. Read the article from the university newspaper about the plan to build new student housing. You will have 50 seconds to read the article. Begin reading now. Now listen to two students discussing the article.
I can't believe these plans. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Really? Seemed okay to me, especially the argument about the cars.
Yeah, I know, but the thing is, it doesn't matter where students live because they still have to get to class somehow, right? At least if they built new dorms on campus, students would use campus transportation
instead of their cars. I see what you're getting at. If they live off campus, they're still going to have to drive and park on campus. Might even create more traffic.
Exactly.
Okay. Still, though, the point about students interacting more with people in the community, that doesn't seem to be a bad thing, does it?
But the more time spent off campus, in town, the less time spent on campus. What about all the clubs, shows, discussions, all the campus happenings that just kind of happen? It's important to be on campus to really take advantage of these things. Having a different living experience shouldn't be given up at the expense of not being as much a part of the university community.
The woman expresses her opinion of the university's plan. State her opinion and explain the reason she gives for holding that opinion.
Begin to prepare your response after the beep. Begin speaking after the beep.
In the woman's opinion, the plans of the university to build housing, to build new student dorms outside off campus are not good. She is against that because she thinks that the reason the university is giving, which is that there are too many cars on campus already, and there is no space for more dorms and more cars there. Doesn't really work, because she says that if people live on campus, they don't even need a car to go to university, but if they live off campus, they will need a car to get there. That's her one reason, and she also says it's better for students if they live on campus, because that way they have better possibilities to enjoy all the benefits from their student life. They can take part in many of the students' actions on campus without having to worry how to get there and how to get away from there again.
Number 3. In this question, you will read a short passage on an academic subject and then listen to a talk on the same topic. You will then answer a question using information from both the reading passage and the talk. After the question, you will have 30 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to speak. Now read the passage about a topic in psychology. You will have 45 seconds to read the passage. Begin reading now. Now listen to part of a lecture in a psychology class.
So, we encounter this in life all the time, but many of us are unaware that we do this, even psychologists who study it, like me. For example, the other day I was at the store and I was getting in line to buy something. But just before I was actually in line, some guy comes out of nowhere and cuts right in front of me. Well, I was really annoyed and thought, that was rude. I assumed he was just a selfish, inconsiderate person, when in fact I had no idea why he cut in line in front of me, or whether he even realized he was doing it. Maybe he didn't think I was actually in line yet. But my immediate reaction was to assume he was a selfish or rude person. Okay, so a few days after that, I was at the store again, only this time I was in a real hurry. I was late for an important meeting, and I was frustrated that everything was taking so long. And what's worse, all the checkout lines were long, and it seemed like everyone was moving so slowly. But then I saw a slightly shorter line. But some woman with a lot of stuff to buy was walking toward it, so I basically ran to get there first before her. And, well, I did. Now, I didn't think of myself as a bad or rude person for doing this. I had an important meeting to get to. I was in a hurry, so, I had done nothing wrong.
Explain how the two examples discussed by the professor illustrate differences in the ways people explain behavior.
Begin to prepare your response after the beep. Begin speaking after the beep.
To begin my statement, I have to say that there are two main different kinds how you evaluate other people or your own. If you evaluate other people, you look just first on the personality or something to connect with the character. If you look at yourself, you see more the surrounding or the situations than you are, and don't see the fools or problems for yourself or what you do by yourself. And the professor has two examples to illustrate these differences, how people explain behavior. First, he was in line and a person jumped before him. He did line jumping, and he was very annoyed about this fact because he thought this person is rude or selfish. But just a couple of days later, he was in a hurry and had an important meeting, only a meeting, and then he did the same, and he just explained his behavior due to the fact that he had no time at an important meeting, and so he thought it was nothing wrong.
Number 4. In this question, you will listen to a short lecture. You will then be asked to summarize important information from the lecture. After you hear the question, you will have 20 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to speak. Now listen to part of a lecture in a child development class.
Okay, young children and art. Research suggests that learning art skills can benefit a young child's development. Two of the ways it can do this is by providing a platform to express complex emotions and by encouraging persistence. Now, what do I mean when I say a platform to express complex emotions? Young children have limited vocabulary. So how would they communicate the feeling of pride, for example? A drawing, though, making a drawing of feeling proud, this is something a young child could do. So a little girl might draw herself jumping up in the air next to her bike. In the drawing, her arms are raised up in the air and she's smiling. Children can communicate their emotions, whether positive or negative, through the drawing better than they could with words. And encouraging persistence? Well, art skills can help children to develop patience and concentration to persist in an activity, the willingness to keep trying to reach a goal. So, suppose there's a little boy who wants to mold a lump of clay into the shape of a car. The first attempt doesn't look too much like a car. He's disappointed, but wants to try again. The second, third, fourth try still don't look quite right, but there's improvement with every attempt. So after some time, he gets to the point where he's satisfied with his creation. The newly shaped clay car is an instant reminder of an accomplishment, a success resulting from his persistence. The boy may be able to transfer this lesson toward other situations and activities because, well, he's had the experience of successfully accomplishing a goal through hard work.
Using points and examples from the talk, explain how learning art can impact a child's development.
Begin to prepare your response after the beep. Begin speaking after the beep.
There are two ways in which art can foster a child's development. One way is if there's a platform offered for expressing a child's complex emotions, and the other one is encouraging a child's persistence. A child has very limited vocabulary, and that's why it cannot verbally express some complex emotions like grief and all this. So in a drawing, a child has the opportunity to actually show what it feels. And also with persistence, it's meant that a child can keep trying to create something, and when it's finally done, there's this success factor, an accomplishment.